Hello YouTube and welcome to the channel. Now then, today's video we are going to be looking at this bad boy, the Youjie Toys UJ99. It's like a supposedly a 1/14 scale basher stroke buggy. I bought it on eBay. They're super cheap at the moment, as is everything I buy. You should be able to find for £34.99. I'll put an amount in dollars down below. The thing that piqued my interest though with regards to reviewing off of the channel is that there seems to be a whole raft of this type of basher buggy out at the moment. I mean, if you go on Banggood, there's like a million different, well, there seems to be a million different versions of it. Like RBR have got their own version of this out. SG have bought a version of it out, the 1402 or the 1401. So it's one of those little chassis that sort of springs into life and then sort of everybody seems to use. So I thought, well, we'll get one, review it and see what they're like. Now before we crack him open, let's have a quick look at the spiel on the box. What have we got here? Strength shock. I've just it's probably just got ordinary friction dampers, to be fair. It's electric, go figure. Oversized tyres, 36 kilometres an hour, possibly not. It says it's 1/14 scale. Well, actually, looking at it, it might actually be around about that. It's 4x4 and 2.4 gigahertz with regards to the controls. So anyway, as ever on the channel, I've yet to get into this. It's still sealed up, so if there's any nasty surprises inside, you and I will be the first to know about it. I have to apologise actually because the box is very shiny, so it's playing havoc with the camera at the moment. But anyway, let's get into it. Let's see what we get for our $34.99. These days quite a lot actually, I would imagine. So it's got bearings as well, and it looks like a 5-wire servo. Okay, let's get into it. I've had the red one, by the way. Okie dokie. Well, there we go. There we've got the buggy. Oh, the tyres are grey. Oh, they look a bit yellow, don't they? Okay, so I'll get back to you because I've got to cut this out of the flipping packaging. So see you in a minute. That's everything out of the box. We've got the truck, obviously. We've got the transmitter, and it looks like it's got steering and throttle trim on it. I think these take 3 AAA batteries as well. We've got a little parts book and instruction manual, which hopefully you won't need too often. And we've got a little bag of bits, which there's a charger, 1 battery, and looks like some spare body clips and a little Phillips screwdriver. So there you go. Okay, first impressions out of the box. Well, it's certainly a good looking machine, there's no doubt about it. I think it looks quite smart. I think these red wheels with the grey tyres would probably grow on you, although they're looking as though they're going a bit yellow already. One of the first things you do notice about it, however, is how flimsy and horrible this body shell feels. It almost feels like a margarine tub on wheels. It's got that really thin, flimsy, plasticky feel to it, like as if you had a couple of good whacks in a certain area, the whole thing would cracking off. So I'm not terribly impressed with the body shell initially. So I scan round it. It's also made of that horrible brittle plastic. You know, some of these cheaper Chinese brands like Xinlehong and whatnot. I've got an example here actually. They're very plasticky, but they tend to have that flexible, rubbery plastic. You know, that you know for a fact that it's going to take a pounding and it's not going to break. Well, this thing is very, very toy grade feeling plastic. It feels very brittle and hard. Everything sort of, it's got that very hard plastic feeling about it. And to be honest, first impression, I think you'll be needing this parts book, because a couple of good whacks here and there, I think you end up breaking stuff. But we'll reserve judgment. Shan't judge it too harshly yet. One thing I have noticed is that front suspension seems to be quite stiff, but the rear bounces all over the place, which is a bit odd. And the transmission, very notchy and stiff. But anyway, we'll have a look at that in a minute. The transmitter is like a Xinlehong Q901, is it? Something like that, but a slightly smaller version. It's very strange. But even this, the plastic, is very hard and cheap plastic, really. Anyway, let's get these body clips off and let's have a look underneath, shall we? Now that the bodywork's off, we can have a quick mooch around on the inside. Now, it all looks very familiar, yet slightly different, and I think it's because this is based on a Xinlehong Q901, or I think they're, what are they, Q9135, 9137, that little range of 1/16 scale trucks, because we can certainly see where they've got the tyres from. I mean, the Xinlehong ones are quite rubbery and compliant, whereas these do feel quite hard and plasticky. The chassis, for sure, if we have a look at a side-by-side comparison of a Xinlehong chassis and the UJ99, we can see a definite lineage there. Same on the underside. I reckon if I was a betting man, I reckon you could take all the bits and pieces off that and they would go in this Xinlehong chassis, no problem at all. Same goes with the Xinlehong running gear. I bet all the spare parts for a Xinlehong would fit this, which, to be honest, is no bad thing, because if I think any of this broke, I would not be replacing it by genuine UJ99 parts. I'd go and put the Xinlehong ones on. But we'll have a look in a minute. We'll have a look, see if they are interchangeable. What I might do is remove some of these little covers and things and see what horrors lie in wait for us beneath them. Yet again, another warranty voided in the interests of a YouTube video, but when we've taken the clothes off, there are even more similarities underneath to our Xinlehong. Here we have a Xinlehong, what is it, 9135 motor. As you can see, I bet you, actually, let's try it. I bet it'll slide straight in there. Yes, look at that, perfect. Which is good news, because I bet the brushless setup in the Q901 will fit in this. Not that you'd want to fit it like, because it'd probably explode. Just while we're here, I'll try swapping one of these differential units over for a Xinlehong one, see if they fit. Well, this is off a Q901, so oh, well, there we go, straight in. Yeah, that's a perfect fit. That's a bit of good news anyway, because if you've got one of these and you want to upgrade it, I think you're going to be able to use a Xinlehong Q901 metal bits and pieces for it, which is a bit of good news. All the wheels are ball raced as well. Everything else is on these little sort of funny copper bushings. That looks like it's interchangeable with the Xinlehong buggy as well. What I'm going to do anyway, since I've got it all apart, I'm going to put some grease in these bits and pieces, because these diffs feel horrible, and then we're going to put it all back together and actually go and try it. Well, that's the little fella back together. I've put some additional lubricant in the diffs and on the transmission gears, etc. It's a little bit smoother than it was before, but not by much, to be honest. It's still quite rough. I'm just waiting for the battery to charge up and then we can take it out. I've also soldered a male Dean's connector on the power plug as well, so I've got loads of these WL Toys batteries float around with the Dean's connector on, so we can shove some of those through it, no problem at all. So like I say, just waiting for the battery to charge up and then we'll take him out for a run, see what it's like. Okay then, back indoors now. What did we think of the UJ99? Well, I think my initial assessment about the robustness of this vehicle was probably a little bit off. It turned out to be quite good actually. But I'll tell you what, we'll start with some good and bad points. Let's start with some bad points first. The first bad point, when I first had it, it had a very strange handling issue in the fact that it would veer off. I can't remember which side it was, but it would veer off to one side under acceleration. Later traced it to the fact that one of the rear wheels wasn't glued on. Now all the other wheels seem to be glued onto the rim, but this one wasn't. So of course, obviously under acceleration only one wheel was spinning, so that's why we'd shoot off to one side. But that was an easy fix, it wasn't too much of an issue. The tyres seem to be wearing out very quick. Although they're not a particularly hard compound, they do seem to be wearing out quite quickly. Especially on, obviously, concrete and gravel and stuff like that. But I don't know how long a set of tyres would actually last you. But it's not much of an issue because you can get Xinlehong ones because they're the same fitment. It doesn't appear to have much in the way of steering lock either. So under acceleration it does tend to push very wide in the corners, but I think that's more to do with the fact that the rear end's so soft and it takes so much weight off the front, but it does, under power, it does tend to go straight on. But again, it's not a Formula 1 car or anything, it's a cheap basher, so it's not really that much of an issue. If you take your finger off the power, it sort of corrects itself. So like I say, these are all very minor things, to be honest. Good points. It turned out to be a lot more robust than I first imagined. As you can see from the video, it took a fair few tumbles. That was only half of them, to be honest. I mean, I actually stopped filming at one point, and as you can see, I've smashed all the front teeth in, but completely destroyed the front end there. Ran it full bore into a concrete bollard, and it just smashed the body, and that was it really. So from a durability standpoint, I think it's all right. I think my initial assessment was probably a little bit off. There are some cracks appearing in the bodywork here and there where the body mounts go, but I've not been particularly kind with it, so I can't really fault it, to be honest. It has a decent run time, about 25 minutes, better than the Xinlehong 9127 and 9125, was it? 913, I can't remember which ones it is. Anyway, they come with like a 500 milliamp hour battery, which is no use and ornament really. So a pretty good run time. It's upgradable because all the Xinlehong parts, as far as I can tell, all the metal parts fit. So if you wanted to upgrade it, you can, and you can upgrade it to brushless. That wouldn't be too much of an issue. You can actually buy this in 4 different body styles, so there's plenty of choice out there. If you didn't like the truck body, there's like a rock bouncer version, etc. Price, at the time of making this video, if you go on Banggood, the SG version of this truck is 27 quid at the moment. So price is absolutely, well, it's a fantastic price for what you get. And I think if this was 50-60 quid, I would go and say buy the Xinlehong, but at £27, I mean in the UK this cost me £34.99, but on Banggood at the moment the SG, I think it's 1401, 1402 or something, is 27 quid, which is absolute bargain. Okay then, would I recommend the UJ99 basher? Well, I'm going to have to say yes. Despite my initial reservations, I'm going to have to say yes, I would. At this price point, it's proved as durable as anything else. The transmission still is not cheap, but it's no worse than it was before. It's super cheap. I mean, 27 quid, bloody hell, you can't go wrong really, can you? And the most important thing is that it's fun. You can bash it around, you can race it around your garden. Me and the kids, we got in the back garden with the motivator and we were racing it round. It's just a good laugh, you know. You can really, and to be honest, at that money, 27 quid, if it did explode, it wouldn't be too much of a problem, would it? I mean, if you wanted to introduce your kids to RC and you wanted to take them to a skate park or something like that, you buy something like that. If they absolutely destroy it, 27 quid, you're not going to be worried, are you? So yes, I would wholeheartedly recommend this little basher. Okay then, if you found this video of some use and interest, please give it a big thumbs up, and if you're feeling that way inclined, hit the subscribe button at the bottom for more similar future content. There are going to be some review videos for some 1/10 scale bashers coming up, so if that's your bag, make sure you're subscribed, and I'll catch you again soon, guys. Thanks for watching.